I certainly hope y'all have been eating some brain food today. Woo, I gotta psych myself out for this one. Y'all see smoke coming out of my ears? I just don't pay me any mind. I had to type this thing out because, yeah, this thing is that big. There was just no way. There was no way I could keep up with that. I mean, I am still like in awe and disbelief. So everybody's like, oh, the Lord's been telling me to go to Daniel, the book of Daniel, and, you know, they'll name off different chapters and stuff. He's even sent me to Daniel. Did I really understand what he was saying? Nope, undoubtedly not. We got the 70 years into captivity that the Israelites were in. Now, what do we do with that? Or do we just throw that part out? We don't even consider the 70 years here. Oh, that's too far back in history to go. It's not going to have anything to do with today. Rise and shine. Okay, so you got Putin wanting to bring back the Soviet Union. You got them in China rubbing elbows. Let's see, you know, it looks like he kind of got what he asked for. He kind of got what he wanted. Let's just not call it Soviet Union, though, right? Because that fell. It's not coming back. Yeah, tell that mess to somebody that'll believe it. Because if it looks like crap, smells like crap, rest assured, it is going to be crap. Okay, in the book of Daniel, you got one ruler wanting to have power and rule over everything. Sounds kind of like the Soviet Union, don't it? Communism. Yeah, you get it. Now today, we have leaders that are trying to take the entire cake for themselves. Roll them all into one, and you got Nebuchadnezzar. And in the past, it's been quoted that the act of treason or espionage is worse than murder. Selling your people out to the enemy. Now, what does this all have to do with the book of Daniel? Julius Rosenberg, born May 12, 1918 in New York, was executed June 19, 1953 in Sing Sing Prison, New York. He was an active member of the Communist Party of the USA. He earned an electrical engineering degree in 1939. In 1940, he began work as a civilian engineer with the U.S. Army, and that's when he started to disclose military secrets to the Soviet Union. He was discharged from the Army for lying about his membership to the Communist Party in 1945. Ethel Greenglass Rosenberg, she was born September 28, 1915 in New York City. She was executed June 19, 1953 in Sing Sing Prison, New York. She worked as a clerk after graduating high school in 1931. She married Julius Rosenberg in 1939. And she, too, was an active member of the Communist Party of the USA. Her brother, Sergeant Greenglass, was a machinist over the Manhattan Project that was to build the atomic bomb, and he provided her with, and Julius, with data on nuclear weapons to share with the Soviets by a third party. Harry Gold was a Swiss-born courier for the espionage ring. He was the one who passed to the Soviets vice consul all of the information that Julius Rosenberg and Ethel Rosenberg gave him. Gold was arrested in 1950, and that led to the arrest of the Rosenbergs shortly after. Now, as a side note, before I move on, our fool on the hill is still under the zero curse. How does Ethel connect to this? Ethel Rosenberg was the first woman to be executed by the U.S. government since Mary Surratt, that was hanged in 1865 for her alleged role in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. And he was a zero president. Now, in later years, the guilt of the Rosenbergs was questioned. There was a book that was written in 1971 by L. Doctorow. And there was a movie made also that was called Daniel, and it was a sympathetic portrait of the Rosenbergs. The book is called The Book of Daniel. Are you with me now? And the truth always has to come out. In the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 90s, it released intelligence confirming Julius's role and his involvement in all of this. In 2015, the grand jury's testimony from 1950 of Sergeant Greenglass, which is Ethel's brother, it indicated he lied in his testimony and had blamed Ethel just to cover up for his wife. Her name was Ruth, and she had a much heavier involvement in all of it. They were the first American civilians to be executed for conspiracy to commit espionage, and the first to suffer that penalty during peacetime. The trial began on March 6, 1951. Sergeant Greenglass was the chief witness for the prosecution, even though there was, later on it was found that there was a lot of deception detected in his testimony. March 29, 1951, they were found guilty, sentenced to death on April the 5th. It was very quick. They were executed by electric chair at Sing Sing Prison in New York City. Now, I, for one, know that there is something that is going, a much bigger meaning is going to come out of this, because I didn't know who this woman was. I had heard her name on a movie one time, and it was somebody playing like as a ghost of her or something. And so I thought it was a fictitious character, but the Lord had spoken her name to me. So I looked her up, and this is what I found. It's the 70 years, and it will be right there in the same time frame as what I prophesied before about what was to take place Rosh Hashanah next year. See, we got to look at what all is really here, what all it's really saying, because we know that nothing takes God by surprise, okay? If they set up kings that God did not choose, he'll let them do it. Why? I think you're about to see why. When he sat his butt down in a chair that did not belong to him, he got a judgment. I mean, it does not matter. Everything he touches, even with good intentions, will turn to crap. It's just what happens to the prideful, the thieves. Okay, so they were arrested. They were arrested sometime in 1950, late 1950, early 51. Their trial began March 1951. Sentenced to death April the 5th, 1951. Our trouble began January 2021. I mean, yeah, they intentionally gave people a plague. And the Rosenbergs were executed June 1953. The zero curse, it happens in the first or the third year of that present term. So whatever happens over the next year, keep your focus on the Lord. Rest assured, he's got this.